Welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. My name is Brenda.
And I am Michelle.
And it's our mission to build a community of lady tribes, a place to connect and grow your tribe with resources, ideas, workshops, retreats, and events. We invite you to join our inner circle and become a tribe leader. It's free!
Each week, we will start a conversation about connecting within your tribe and across all of our tribes. Our goal is to create 1,000 new lady tribes in 2022. And each episode will challenge you with a call to action. The first one is to join our inner circle. Go to tinyurl.com/myladytribe. And as a gratitude gift, we will send you a downloadable copy of Chapter 1 of Lady and the Tribe, The Awakening.
Yay! So please subscribe to be notified of a new episode each week. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. Today we have a very special episode, and I couldn't be more excited to introduce our guest speaker to here today, our guest interviewee, I should say. This is a new trend we're going to be having with Find Your Lady Tribe. You're used to just listening to Michelle and I yammer back and forth, but we have gone out and sought out some great experts and healers and all kinds of relationship and connection gurus to share with you all. And today we have the fabulous Cindy Costley. Cindy is a trauma survivor, an award-winning author, a speaker, and an allergy mast cell wellness coach. She has a degree in dietetics, and she's been helping her clients make powerful life changes for over 20 years. And I'll give you a little bit of background on Cindy that she shared with us. For about 34 years, starting at the age of 15, she dealt with severe mast cell issues and was often described as the girl who's allergic to the world. At the age of 48, she became extremely ill and started down an amazing healing journey that led to a full healing and powerful spiritual awakening. Her journey has helped her understand firsthand the power of healing your trauma and stepping into the truth of who you are. Once healed, she decided to up-level her coaching business so she could help others who also suffer from chronic allergies or mast cell disorders, now assisting individuals that are also choosing to step into bravery and say yes to healing and the underlying reasons behind their allergic reactions. Her coaching style is informative and nurturing as she empowers individuals to take control of their lives and heal physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. We are so happy you're here, Cindy.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here. I'm just really excited for this and grateful to both of you.
Okay, and you know what? I think Michelle's especially excited because, Michelle is a Lakota medicine woman, and she is really known as the pharmacist who doesn't believe in drugs.
Yes. So Cindy and I were fast friends.
Yes.
As soon as we got to connect, because it's besides the long journey that Cindy's been on, her passion, her mission for helping others to that other side and experiencing their own empowerment in that healing journey is exactly aligned to the mission that I have in my coaching and my tribe of how we just can get there on our own and not always relying or giving up our power to our healthcare industry. And I think that Cindy's story about that is part of the message that we really want to share, both of us. So Cindy, will you start by telling us a bit about that journey of your illness and the trauma that you've recovered from?
Sure. Yes, I'd love to. It all started for me when I was 15 years old. I had allergies as a child, so I had a little bit of hay fever, and we rode horses, my dad and I, and so I'd have some allergies around that, but nothing severe. And then at age 15, I suddenly became allergic to everything, and I mean everything. So all animal life, most foods, all plant life, or most plant life, and all chemicals. And I spent 34 years in and out of doctor's offices, one allergy shot or allergy, process after another, one steroid, the prednisone shots, the antibiotics, all of that. And even in the holistic field, one magic herb that was going to fix me, or lay on this table and you're going to be magically all better, right? And there's just this, for one, there's this desire for a quick fix, right? There's this need and want to just not have to deal with what we're dealing with. And I bought into that for all those years as well. And I think it's important to note that I lived a very joyous life. I was very happy. I raised 3 kids. I got a degree. I worked. I started my own business. I always kind of felt like I was lucky that this is all I had to deal with. And I kind of lived my life that way. And then at age 48, it had progressively been getting worse and worse. So for 10 years prior, my allergic reactions were getting more severe, more intense, and lasting longer. Like I could tell my body was just getting harder to heal them. And when I talk about allergic reactions, for me, it all manifested in severe rashes all over my body, severe bronchitis. I've had pneumonia many times, and bronchitis at least once or twice every year. And so it was my immune system as well as rashes. And then some nasal stuff, definitely, and asthma, but the rashes were the worst. So that just kind of progressively got worse. And at age 48, my family and I went water skiing, which is my love. It's one of my passions. I always, tell everybody I shred on the water. And we were up north, and it was a new lake we'd never been to. And we were swimming, and within a few hours, my husband was off taking me to the hospital. Oh. And I had broken out in a rash from head to toe. And at this point, I had become allergic to pretty much anything that the doctors could give me. So the last few reactions, I just was reacting on top of it to the medications. My body was saying, no more, I'm done with you, with the medications. And so I never fully recovered from that. And it took me about a year of really seeking out a different path, because I knew what I was doing wasn't working. And so I sought out a functional medicine doctor. And I actually flew to Massachusetts. So I live in California. I flew to Massachusetts, and Dr. Mark Hyman is well known all over the world for his magic medicine. I think of him as like Dr. House, and I loved him, and I stayed with him for a while, but I needed somebody close by. So I got another functional doctor, and he specialized in holistic, in Ayurvedic medicine. And so even though he studied at Harvard and went to school at, Stanford, did his residency at Stanford, he then went to India and studied Ayurvedic medicine, and was able to work with me in that. And I literally spent time, hours and hours, finding the right doctor, and he was the right doctor. And I think that's something that's so important, is that we need to be our own advocate and really seek out the person that is best for us. Because I wanted somebody that understood what was happening with my body, but didn't want to just give me a pill to fix it. Didn't want to just throw me another medication and say, and it wasn't ever fixing it. It was just putting a Band-Aid on it, right? I never got to the underlying answers. At the same time that I was seeing this new functional doctor, I started seeing a spiritual counselor. So I sought out somebody that could kind of help guide me on my own spiritual path. And one of the first things she said to me is, tell me what happened to you at age 14. And I had a very severe trauma at age 14. My parents had sent me to a family friend's house for the summer in Georgia. And I was given alcohol. I'd never had alcohol before, but this family friend of mine, got me drunk. And, when we're talking drunk, I know now, I didn't know back then what it meant, but it was Everclear. So we all know how intense that is. So for a little 14-year-old to, for the first time to be drinking Everclear, I passed out and I woke up naked in a forest with 4 or 5 guys on top of me. And I share this because I never spoke one word about it all those years. I never told a soul. It never came out of my mouth. I was raped as well at 15, and my mom found out about that, and she got me some help. And I did 2 years of therapy and never once mentioned to the therapist about what had happened to me at 14, because I knew that he would go to jail and it would break up our families. So now I can look at it and know that I protected everybody but me, right? I just was taking care of everyone else but myself.
Not your
So
own
fast forward, pardon?
Not your own advocate.
No.
And if I may,
Yeah.
we first have to be a friend to ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before we can go out and do that and do anything for anyone else. We have to first care for ourselves before we care for others. So
We do.
please continue.
Yeah, we really do. You're so right. And I used to tell my daughters, you don't want, so I had some pretty bad trauma as a child. I never said what it was, but you don't want that to happen to you. I came out unscathed is what I used to say. So here I am 40, or 38 years later, and all this is crashing down on me because I had been having one allergic reaction after another. I was at the point that I could barely leave my house. My husband was bringing groceries in. I was just isolated completely and still very, very, very ill. And I told my husband that my soul wants to dance, and it's going to dance whether it's here on earth or not. And I could feel that. And so I was working with this functional doctor, and then my healer friend said, you got to start looking at your traumas. And so what ended up happening is we were able to recognize that my body actually had made me allergic to everything to protect me from ever getting hurt again. So instead of me having, depression or anxiety or masking it with drugs and alcohol, like a lot of people that go through some of that trauma happens to them, instead for me, everything was physical. So anything that was in my surroundings, within eyesight, within touch, sounds even, and anything in my digestive system during my traumas, I became allergic to. It was like my body said, none of this is safe. You're not, this is all a trigger. So that's why all those years I was triggered. And I started a process called NAET, which has just been this life-saving desensitization process. That's just been fabulous. And I did it for about a year, and I got really well, and I was strong, and I was traveling, and I had built a business the prior 10 years. And so I was back working again and in my own business and doing great. And then I went to surprise my daughter for Mother's Day, and my grandson was turning 6. And I kept saying, Maverick, I can't believe you're going to be 6. Well, the next day after getting home, I broke out in the worst rash I've ever had on my body. It was horrific. It gives me the chills to think about it. It was so painful. It was everywhere from my neck down to my ankles. And it took us about 3 months to figure out what it was. And it turned out to be that my body I had suppressed another trauma. So my body was pushing out. And I used to tell my husband, this looks like rage. It looks like pure rage all over my body. That's what it was. And at age 6, I had been molested by a neighbor. And that was my body releasing it. And the day after all that started happening, I started getting the flashbacks. I actually woke up with bruises all down my arm and water on my elbow. And it was because he had hurt me. And it just shows the muscle memory. Our bodies remember everything that happens to us.
We store our traumas.
We store our traumas. Yes. I never spoke about that. One of the things that we cleared through my NAET was severe ear pain that I had in my right ear for many, 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 many years. And in the clearing and desensitization of that process, I saw through meditation that that's the ear he had spoken. So he had hurt me, he laid me down, and then he said something, and I never figured out what he said, but it was very, very, it was pure fear. So he basically instilled fear in me so I would never tell anybody. And that's when at 6 years old, I just held it all in, right? So I then just started choosing to heal it. I just said, I'm not letting these men have this power over me anymore. And I chose to heal. And I went down a really beautiful and extremely difficult, but powerful healing process. And now I am almost 100% asymptomatic. I'm still doing weekly treatments. So I still, desensitize to certain things because there's many, 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 many layers. You can't even imagine how many different layers there are for every little thing that happens to us. And my body, in this lifetime, I'm choosing to heal it all. So it's been a process, but I'm grateful for it because this person that I am today, I didn't even know existed. And I am so grateful for who I am and for my choice to just dig deep, find my strength, and go through that healing journey. And now I get to work with other people that, help, that have these allergic reactions and that's our suffering, and help them as well. So that was a lot to say,
Yeah.
but
So, it's so interesting to me. I would have never, maybe this in your training, this has come up, but I would have never thought that an allergy could be the result of trauma. It would have never crossed my mind.
Yeah, or a cancer, or
anything,
hair falling out, or all the things that people seek their medical treatments for. The soul connection that you're talking about, Cindy, it's what fires me up in that approach between sort of Eastern and Western medicine of how we used to do it, right? How we used to do it was to treat the whole person and to treat everything about them. And when you're looking for the spiritual signs, not just the subjective, objective, medical signs, when you're looking for the spiritual signs together too, and you and I have done some of that work in our lives, that you find your cause and effect isn't just always an environmental allergen, like my hairspray or my nail polish or a drug interaction like I would deal with. You end up finding that there are soul connections that manifest in our body as illness. And once you look at it that way, you can never look back.
You can't look back. Yeah.
I am really excited to hear how you built your tribe of support and healers when you were going through this, your dark days and your good days. How did you put together, what did your tribe look like?
Yeah, that's such a great question. That's why I love this conversation that you have, because I know for a fact that without my tribe, first of all, I would never have even been able to accomplish half of what I did in those 34 years, right? So I had this amazing tribe of family and friends that, when I wanted to go somewhere, they cleaned their house. They all put in air purifiers. They made sure that there was food there I could eat. If they had animals, they would put them upstairs and make, people would spend money to clean their house just so I could come over for dinner. It was just so beautiful to see what the people that I surrounded myself with all those years did for me. And I honestly did not know even how to appreciate it or what they really did to the extent until I wrote my book. And I started thinking about everything and really sitting down and just honoring them. And, it's just so beautiful. And on the other side of it, as I started to heal, we got to have this new conversation with each other as to, okay, we're not going to cater to my allergies anymore, right? Now it's time to cater to my wellness and time to trust and believe that I can heal and that I can be here and that I'm safe. And so that same tribe is working with me to reinvent my conversation around being at their house and being with everybody, because we tell ourselves lies, and they're survival tools. And I appreciate it. And I needed that all those years, but I don't need that anymore. And so that is just my longtime family and friends. That's one tribe that literally I am the person I am today because of them. I mean, when I was down and I'd say I'd have an allergic reaction, and it doesn't sound like much, but you're 3 kids, you have a job. My allergic reactions, I'm in bed and my family just, okay, Cindy's down. Let's take you here and you got to go here. And this kid's got to go here and we'll get you dinner. And, just really phenomenal, just beautiful, beautiful souls that I had. So that's one tribe. And that tribe is still in my life to this day. And now, like I said, we're reinventing. But as I've healed, I've brought in this whole new tribe. And I look at it like my team, my medical team tribe, and then my kind of soul's purpose tribe, my development into who I am and who I know that I'm meant to be now in this world. And so I've brought in a whole nother tribe to support me in that. And some of them are in both, right? But in terms of my medical tribe, I just stayed open-minded. I remember laying in bed one day, and you're so right that some of it was very painful. So with every desensitization, the way my body handled these desensitization was to release the energy. So it's trapped energy in our body, right? So it would release that energy in the form of an allergic reaction. So every week when I would do a desensitization, it manifested as it did all those years, right? And then it's gone. But I spent 3 or 4 years 3 or 4 days every week for the last almost 4 years in pretty much down with these allergic reactions as my body's clearing out that energy. And so one day I was laying in bed, I could not move. And it was a couple years into it, and I was just done. I couldn't do it. And I just was talking to the universe saying, you need to show me, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this on my own. I'm going to cry talking about it because it was just such a moment of that I just wanted to give up and did not want to do it anymore. And I said, show me. You're telling me that, I'm going to make it through this, and I'm trusting you, because I really did trust my process, and I can talk about that in a minute. But and all of a sudden my phone lights up. So I'm laying in bed and my phone lights up, and it's Facebook, and it's this healer, and she's live on Facebook. And I went, okay, that's a message. And yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, okay, I think you want me to look at this. So there were a few of those type of incidences that I had healings by individuals that woke me up to what was possible in terms of us healing ourselves. And my take on it was, if they can do that, why can't I do that for myself? Right. And she has become a big part of my tribe. So in the beginning, I hired her to do a lot of healings for me, but she doesn't believe in just healing you. She believes in teaching you how to heal yourself. So she has now taught me so many lessons on how to manage my own allergic reactions, how to heal my own reactions when they're happening. And so she's definitely one that's, part of my tribe, my medical tribe, as well as my functional medicine doctor. I still see a Western doctor. I see him quarterly. He does all my blood tests because we want to make sure everything I'm doing really is working. Because when this all started, my liver and kidneys were failing. Basically, the doctor said I had the liver of an end-stage alcoholic, and I didn't drink. Anytime I would drink in my adult years, within 2 to 3 days, I'd have the flu. It would just crash my immune system. Yeah. And we found out through this desensitization process that I'm doing that because I was drunk during two of my traumas, my body took alcohol as like the energy of the alcohol is something very dangerous for me as well. So once we cleared that, my liver and kidneys completely, all the enzymes my enzyme numbers were normal again. So it's just amazing what we can do ourselves and more naturally. I'm not against Western medicine. I think that's super important. And I think that until I was ready to heal at this level, I needed it all those years. Because if you're not open to doing something different and you're not willing to do the hard work to heal and to learn how to do it yourself, you need something else, right? But right now with the phase that I'm in, I'm off all medications except for an occasional Benadryl or Claritin. And I do all the desensitization. It's all natural. NAET is a natural way of, it's retraining the brain and the body with the trauma and the emotions, or the allergic reaction and the emotions behind it. And so we're retraining every single step, telling my body that this is safe. I'm safe with, everything.
Well, that's really interesting. It's very interesting.
Fascinating. It's like a clinical study that is already spiritually fruitful. And that story it's just proof, right? It's proof that we do have that power. We can do those things, and we surround ourselves with the people who bring those things to us. You're giving me so many ideas I can't wait for us to all partner together.
Yes.
in that same kind of healing journey. And so how do you do it now? How do you tribe now?
Yeah. I mean, your closest inner circle of besties, how do you tribe?
So my besties, we're all so busy, but when we meet up, how do I say this? We just love on each other, right? So
we know what you're talking about.
One thing that's happened in my journey is I've realized how different I really am compared to many of my tribe members. And this is all my old friends, right? And that's why I have a new group of tribe members as well. But with my old group, I'm just blessed because we all accept each other for who we are. We're just super busy. We don't see each other that often, but when we do, boy, we need each other. and we'll reach out. Like I tend to reach out the most and say, hey, haven't heard from you in a while. Let's get to lunch, or let's get together. And then we just talk. And one thing that I've really noticed a shift in is, in the beginning, we were always, how's it going with your kids? How's it going with your husband? And now we're starting to talk a little bit more about ourselves too, and what's going on with us and how are we doing? And then this new tribe that I've created, who I would say are the people I see them more often, and they're really supportive, and we're all kind of going down this spiritual journey together. And I actually once a month bring a group of people to my house, and I have a healer that comes, and she's teaching us some of these gifts and how to tap into our own gifts. We talk regularly because we're all learning. So it's a group of about 8 people, and we're learning how to use our gifts in this world to help others. And so this is like a whole new dynamic that just came up in the last 6 months. And we are loving on each other and supporting each other and having so much fun with one another. And I think that's what's important, is to realize that as we grow and develop, we don't have to let go of the people from our past, right? Yes, sometimes they're not serving us, right? Sometimes we have to let go. But for the most part, as long as we can accept each other, they're still part of your tribe, right? And they meet a certain need that I don't get with this other spiritual group. Mm-hmm. And so by having also my spiritual tribe, then I get to meet that need that I have in my life, and I just think it's really a gift that I've given myself, and that we've all given each other by, maintaining that friendship and that ability to reach out to one another when we're down, because life is hard sometimes, and it's hard for everybody sometimes. And I have always said, and after my dad died, I was 24 years old when my father passed away. And I said, and we had so many people that just walked us through that held us in love when it was, one of the most chaotic, hard, extremely painful times in our life. And after I got through that, I thought, okay, I'm going to spend the rest of my life, when I'm good, I'm going to help others. And when I'm down, I'm going to let others help me. And that's what I learned from that, was we let people help us when we needed it, but then we get to turn back and give it back to other people when they need it. And that's what your true tribe is, right?
That is so powerful. I think that, from my perspective, and I believe we're kind of on the same page, we each are the center of our own tribe, the center of our own universe. And we have people from our past, people that we met just a little bit ago. And these people that we connect with and give us what we need, and we are able to give them they are our tribe. It's not just a unit here is a tribe and a unit here is a tribe. My tribe is the people that are part of my life. And it's interesting to me that you say that your newer spiritual group is on this mission in the last 6 months, because the shift in energy right now for women coming together and leading the way to heal the world, I think you're just speaking that it's happening. It's in action.
That's what
it really is.
Is noticing it and honoring it, especially in the stories and the journeys of women like all of us. Yeah, I'm gonna get choked up. But I really appreciate you sharing your soul with us. Journey that you've been on. It's incredible to know that we're not alone, and anyone else who's listening to us, if you think you are alone, we all stand as examples that you're not, and to reach out, ask for help when you're needing it, and to give help when someone else is needing it is a perfect takeaway or a challenge, a call to action.
Yeah. So Cindy, do you have anything for our audience, like a call to action? We always like to leave them with something, a little bit of homework.
I do. I want to say that there's another tribe that often goes kind of looked over, and that's our spirit tribe. And that's a whole nother tribe I didn't even talk about, but I reach out to them all the time. And, you know, when I first started down this healing journey, I was told, start asking to be shown the truth of who you are. So every day I would say, please, you know, God, spirit, whatever you call it, please just say, please show me the truth of who I am. And ask your guides and angels and all the beautiful support team, because there's a whole tribe out there that we can't see that are there to guide us, but they don't necessarily, they can't do it unless you ask, because you have full domain over your own life. So once I started asking, I connect with them all the time, and they support me and guide me and show me the way. And it is a beautiful new part of my life. And so I would say, tap into your spirit tribe.
I love it. What's the name of your book and how can people find it?
My book is still out. So I have one book that I wrote, but my book about my story is still in editing. So it's not out just yet. I do have a new podcast I just started called The Underlying Answers. So if you have allergies, if you're suffering with allergies, you can find me at The Underlying Answers. I'm on all the podcast stations. And then also you can just look me up at theunderlyinganswers.com and learn more about, you know, how I help individuals that are suffering with allergies.
Fantastic.
I love it. Thank you so much, Cindy.
You're welcome.
An honor to
Thank
meet
you.
you. Can't wait for us to do more work together.
I think we will be.
What's great information. We are so grateful you're here. And I guess we're going to call it, right?
Yeah, when 3
or more gather, we are tribe.
Awesome.